Hello, everybody. We are live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I got a very special guest for you guys. I got Ginger Marvin. You guys don't know I've been waiting at least 6 months to catch up with these guys. So that's how long I've been following them for a while. And it just seems like every time I tried to reach out to them, we know like on alternate universes, like on alternate busy schedules. So I'm going to put you guys on full screen so they can see you a little bit better. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Let everybody know who you are, where you're from, and let them know what it is that you guys do.
Yeah. All right. I'm Kathy, or we go by Ginger Marvin. That's kind of like a nickname. Full-time resellers in Colorado. We have 2 little boys, 5 and 7 years old. And
yeah.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. We resell full-time for a living and make YouTube videos about it. And we do a lot of what solds and haul videos. And yeah, that's kind of our life.
Well, you know, man, it seems like your YouTube channel has taken off lately. I think I was following you guys, and it seems like just like a week or so ago, you guys were at like 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers, and I looked lately, and you're at like 8,000. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like you put your head down and you just keep hustling, and you look up, and you're like, oh, that's cool, you know. But you're just so busy working and moving that you don't even really realize it. It just kind of creeps up on you. So, so you guys are full-time resellers. Go ahead and give us a little bit of your backstory. First, tell us like what it is that got you guys started into reselling. Were you guys watching YouTube videos one day? You know, tell us a story about how you guys got started into reselling.
I feel like YouTube's kind of what got us into realizing it could be more than just a hobby.
Yeah.
Because at first I was just kind of doing it to sell some kids' clothes, our kids' outgrown clothes, but also just some random thrift finds to get extra money to buy our kids some clothes. Nicer clothes with, and then so I was just making $100 a week or something, maybe not like anything to brag about, but
and then I think I kind of brought up the idea of watching YouTube and like branching out from kids' clothes, and you know, slowly but surely we've kind of branched out into different platforms, you know, from where we started or where she started, and
just Kidizen mainly at first, and now we're on Kidizen, Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
maybe add some more in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, and I kind of came on full time in January 2020. So I'd seen the growth, and I was working from home too. I did like built custom furniture out of the garage.
Yeah, so I was doing it as just kind of a hobby while he was doing that,
and so I saw the growth potential that she was having and how much reselling could really just take off. And so I kind of came up and did all the inventory. I built the shelves, and
our old inventory was so bad, and it would take me an hour to find an item sometimes because I lost it, and now
that's one of the things that really impressed me a lot about your, not just so much about your channel, but just about your reselling, I guess, journey or reselling life, is the way that you structure. If you guys look, I'll put you on full screen real quick. If you guys look over their shoulder, they have these bins right over their shoulder here. So whenever an item sells, I'm sure you guys put it either like in the description, or I'm sure you put it somewhere in the in the heading of the item when you list it on eBay or the platform you list it on. So whenever the item sells, they know, okay, it's bin C, D, E, F, G, so they know what bin to go find their items, and it saves time. You know, time is money. If you guys think about how many hours a day people spend working at a job, and they work, 8, 10, 12-hour days, people are trading your time for money, and then for you to be able to trade items for money, but then you're spending an hour or two running around like a dog chasing your tail looking for an item that's sold. Think about how much time that you could have been using that time to maybe have dinner with your family or go out and do fun things besides, running around looking for items that that it's here somewhere. You just don't know where it is. So I've definitely been in your situation before when Kathy was saying just like, hey, it took me an hour to find this item. I've definitely have been there before.
So, hey, items back then.
Usually the cheap item not making you any money, right?
Right. It's like a $10 item, but you don't want to go and cancel this $10 order, but you're like, I know I have it here somewhere. I just don't know where. It's over here in this area somewhere, and then you're just kind of flipping through it. So we're live. Let me say hello real quick to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to the Mo is here, the reseller niche is here. I wanted to say hey to Flippy McFlipperson is here. He says so organized. And I want to give a shout out here to the Yellow Brick Road of reselling. So
everyone.
So Chris, tell me a little bit about what when, because it sounds like when you guys first got started in reselling, you were kind of like on the fence about jumping into full time. So at what point did you guys say, hey, you know what, this could be like a real legit business. We can make some real income from reselling full time, and this could be our full time gig. So tell me kind of what was your tipping point, because there's a lot of people, I'd say for the vast majority of people, it's probably best they keep their full time jobs and then do reselling part time. Just so you have that security. It's almost like you have that security blanket of knowing you have a paycheck coming in every week when you got bills to pay and food to put on the table. So tell me a little bit about what that journey was like for you guys.
It kind of was, I was working full time doing furniture, and her business was just kind of, it wouldn't stop growing, right?
But we couldn't because we also have the little guys. So just trying to let him work a few hours and me work a few hours.
It didn't work out because when you're working with, like a table saw, you can't really you can't watch your kids, right? So it's just not safe for anybody. Right. So I would always be trying to, get alone time, and then she'd be up here trying to get work done with the kids, and that doesn't work. But when we're up here now, the kids are down playing iPad or whatever. Like, we can watch them, right? They're not getting into stuff. They're not being dangerous. They're not playing in the street, So, so that was kind of a big thing. Like, okay, well, I can shift my time to the reselling business, because at that time, we were watching a lot of YouTube together, and I was getting more interested in it, and seeing, things that, with our inventory system, seeing places where I can improve the system and make life better for everybody. So, yeah, I don't know, that was probably, you were doing part-time reselling for 2 years or so at that point, right? A year or two.
Yeah.
So
I could definitely relate. I could just, I'm imagining in my head, like you're in the shed or you're out in the garage and you're like, stand back, everybody. I'm using this skill saw or this electric power tool. And in the background, there's like wood shavings flying everywhere, and you have kids running by, and she's trying to pull eBay orders. Yeah.
It's just,
and you're like, have the goggles on. I could definitely see that. So, hey, let me say hello real quick to people that jumped in the chat. We have Philly Flipper is in the house. He says, dang, Jeff got some legends on the screen. Yeah, man. Believe it or not, I've been a long time subscriber of Ginger Marvin. It just took me 6 months to track them down to get them to come on the channel. So don't, sometimes you guys see a guest and think, sometimes I reach out to them and they'll show up on the show 2-3 days later. Sometimes it takes 6 months or a year just to get everybody's schedule to kind of overlap, especially with it being fourth quarter. So we definitely appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come on and hang out with us. If you guys are not following our guest, Ginger Marvin, they are full-time resellers. All the links are going to be in the description down below for YouTube and Instagram. So go by and follow them. I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. Keith is in the house. I wanted to say hey to Gilstrap Gets, says hi all. Glad we could catch this. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. I want to give a shout out to Zach is in the chat. Utah Bought and Gone. He says, hey guys. Philly Flipper says, I'm doing a word count on how many words Kathy actually says. And it says, we found them and love their videos. For sure. Yeah, I'm a subscriber of their channel as well. So, guys, tell me a little bit about, we talked earlier about what platforms you sell on. What would you say is your bread and butter items that you guys source the most and that you sell the most of? Do you do a lot of clothing, shoes? Kind of go into detail a little bit more about what it is that you guys do, and how your business runs. And guys, if in the chat, if you have questions, drop it in the chat. So we're kind of interactive here.
I've just always really liked shoes. I learned that when I was just doing kid stuff. I just found kid shoes really easy to do. And then once I went into the adult market, I just pretty much still stuck with shoes. I still sell other stuff. I like selling coats and stuff, but mostly shoes. I would say
I think shoes are probably
at least 80% of what we sell is shoes.
Yeah.
So they're just super easy to source, super easy to list, super easy to ship. So
now I got a question. When you guys ship out your items, do you polybag a lot of your items? Because it looks like when you're pulling your items, everything is already pretty much ready to go. It's like you put it in a padded envelope or something, you slap a shipping label on it, and you drop it in the thing, and it's ready to go. I'll put you on full screen so you guys can kind of see what we're talking about here, because I'm not nowhere near as organized as this. Look at the video here. See those sandals? How they're already they're already kind of like, in a poly bag. They're boxed up and ready to go. So whenever they're ready to pull the item, they're like, hey, I'm going to bin Q. I'm looking for some brown sandals or whatever the name brand is. They already have everything labeled, boxed up, and ready to go. So, I wish I was that organized where I had my stuff that was like, already in, like, that was already polybagged and ready to go. Mo is in the chat. He says, what items do you not like to source?
Anything that's not shoes or clothes.
Glass.
He likes that stuff more, but
I don't like
honestly,
glass.
he hasn't been able to really. Everything that we sell right now is pretty much what I've listed. Like, he has a pile to list, but he hasn't listed it yet. So,
right. So, I have some questions. What is your top platform that you make the most sales on right now? Is it eBay? What would you say is your biggest platform that you guys get the most sales from?
It's eBay, but eBay's been slowing down, and I don't know if that's because of their new promoted listings, or we did start using Posher VA, which is just something that shares your closet all day long, a few months back, and that has really shot up our eBay sales, or our Poshmark sales. So I don't know if, like right now, let's see, it's so October 12th. We have 49 eBay, 49 Poshmark sales so far. So right neck and neck.
Do you guys use a platform that like cross lists your items, or do you do it manually, or how does that work?
We use List Perfectly, but it is us doing it manually. So you kind of draft all your listings into their catalog and then shoot them off to the different platforms from there.
Okay, cool. The Philly Flipper says, I have items in bins my size, then color, and then brand, thinking of switching to banker boxes and alphabetical. Like y'all, how long is it process would take forever for 2,000 pieces of clothing?
A while.
It could take a while.
Chris mostly, when we first did it like this, he bagged almost everything, and I think we only had around 1,000 at the time.
So we used to have a hanging, so we had hangers and like racks or rods or whatever, and so everything was on a numbered hanger in numerical order. Which worked, but then we had to spend a lot of time to still package the items, lint roll, and do all that kind of stuff. So we figured it's better just to do that all in batches, like as you're doing the inventory, just do all that time up front and get them in the clear cellophane bags. And then the way we keep them in the boxes is that's just completely random. So I saw Philly Flipper was saying alpha, or like by brand and size and color. We choose the opposite of that, because if I pull out a box and I'm looking for a pair of jeans, I don't want to have to then look through 5 other pairs of jeans. I want to just grab the pair of jeans that I'm looking for. So it's way random and crazy inside the boxes, but we have the location in our spreadsheet. So once we find it in our spreadsheet, we know exactly what box it's in. And then you guys can watch our What's Old videos where Kathy just opens the box, and that's literally her finding the item in that time. So,
I mean, it's pretty easy to grab. There's only like
20. I think it would be kind of boring and monotonous if people were like you're walking 10 minutes up and down the aisle to find one item to show, hey, it's here somewhere. I just have to find the item and pull it. It's like, I don't think anybody would stick around for that. So how many items do you guys think that you have listed active right now in total, not counting the same item that's cross listed on multiple platforms? But if you had to guess, how many items do you think you have listed currently right now?
I don't have to guess. It's right about 800.
Yeah.
So not too many, honestly.
Right.
I've had a hard time. I'm trying to get back to 1,000 because that's kind of like my sweet spot, and I haven't been able to, because as much as I list a day, I sell a day right now. So.
Okay, cool. I wanted to give a shout out to Jill Strap. Says, I'd like to know how Kathy knows the dimensions and weights of what she's shipping that day. We know approximately our dimensions ahead of time, but we don't know the exact until we pack it up first. So I'm assuming they probably, put it on the scale and write it down somewhere, right?
Yeah, as we're bagging things, we'll bag it and then we'll weigh it and we'll put that in our spreadsheet.
I even take a picture. Like if I'm doing shoes, our photograph area is right over here. I'll photograph the shoes and then photograph them on the scale so that as I'm listing, I already know how much they weigh. Because on eBay anyways, all the other platforms kind of have, Poshmark is just one label no matter what it weighs. But for eBay, I kind of price a 2-pound package at $9.99, 3-pound package at $11.99.
Yeah, she's really good at memorizing and predicting that kind of stuff.
As far as dimensions, I don't I just feel like you don't really need the dimensions unless you have something crazy big. Like for the most part, shoes I know are going to fit in the 15 by 8 by 6 shoe box from the USPS. So
right. Or if it's like if these are like over 2 pounds or something, they should fit in a padded flat rate, right? There's like certain sizes that we know. Okay, that's going to go in a padded flat rate, and we just know that.
Which I could also know that by how much I priced the shipping at on eBay. I'll know that.
All right, cool. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had a question for you guys. What would you say would be your like top 3 pieces of advice to help somebody out if they want to make a full-time income from reselling on eBay or Poshmark, whatever their platform is? They want to make a full-time income. Maybe they would like to work from home, or maybe there's somebody that is an elderly person, they're retired, or maybe they're a stay-at-home mom, and they're like, this is great. I've got 5-6 hours of free time while the kids are at school during the daytime. What would be like your top 3 pieces of advice that would help them make a full-time income from reselling? Like, what would you guys say off the top of your head that would help? I'm going to put you on full screen.
So definitely inventory, just being organized so that you can spend time listing and stuff versus finding your items to ship. So
especially if you're smaller, if you lose one item and you're only selling, a few items a week or so, that is way more impactful on your ratings than if you're putting out, 400 a month or whatever, a week or whatever. So, definitely have your inventory figured out to the point where you're not losing things, or once they're listed, they're not getting damaged or stuff like that.
And if you haven't started yet, I would say figure out what you want your inventory to be like before you start. Because like he said, we had our old inventory system, which at the time it felt like okay, but it really actually sucked now looking back. And just that took a long time to switch it all out, which obviously it's way better now and it was worth the time to do that. But that would have been nice to not have those 40 hours probably that he bagged all that up. So that, and then basically you have to at least list in value how much you want to make at the very least. And most likely you're not going to sell everything you list, and definitely not going to sell it right away. So if you need to make $1,000 a week, you have to at least list $1,000 in profit a week. I like to list twice as much as I want to make, just to leave room for offers and stuff not selling on time and stuff like that. So those are
what is your old goals for your reselling business? Like, do you have a certain goal or a certain thing? I mean, obviously it's, the goal is just to make money to pay bills. But I mean, in the future, do you guys plan on expanding your business and try to have more items listed? Or are you going to try to switch to more platforms? Like, what would you guys see yourself doing in down the road, maybe 2, 3 years, 5 years down the road, like with your reselling business? Have you sat down and really thought about it?
Yeah.
Sort of.
I mean, at this point, like we want to grow, but we don't really want an employee. We're not excited to grow to the point of having employees and stuff like that.
So it's like right now we're making enough to pay our bills and then some. And I think like what we're trying to grow to is to start not flipping, but like kind of doing real estate.
Yeah.
Originally we wanted to flip it, but now we just kind of want to hold and rent and things like that. So just making enough money to get down payments and stuff for houses like that.
Yeah. So turning, reselling money and maybe YouTube money into real assets that are, like buying property. So that's the long-term goal. And then we'll let that kind of run itself.
Plan, I guess.
Retirement wise. But as far as, I don't know, like I think we could probably realistically double what we do now, just because I don't do very much listing or anything. I'm taking a lot of time on the YouTube, and we got 2 young kids that I usually take on a lot of the housework stuff with preparing meals and stuff like that. So, just getting our systems better in place to where we can maybe double our reselling money.
What was I going to say? I just finally started school together all day for the first time this year. So previously I've been doing it, but like barely doing staying up till midnight to get items listed. But now I can get them listed during the day when they're at school, and then we have the whole night free to do whatever we want. So it's been nice, and I definitely think I can improve my processes to list twice as much as I'm doing right now.
So what have you guys done differently to get ready for fourth quarter? Because we're now officially in
Yeah.
October, and before you know it, Halloween will be here. Then Thanksgiving, it'll be Turkey Day, and then
Yeah.
Christmas will be here. And there's a lot of shortages right now with different items for various places. So how is things? What have you guys been doing as far as ramping up for Q4? And do you have any other advice to help other resellers out there? Because sometimes I think people just get burned out, and I'm like, man, this is a time where people make most of their money is in Q4. So what do you guys do to avoid burnout, and what are you guys doing to get ready for Q4?
I don't usually get burnout just because I like everything about reselling. The more that I sell, the more motivated I am to keep listing and keep selling. So I guess just sell stuff, and then you won't feel unmotivated, I think.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, we have been very blessed as far as being able to grow to the point where we're having 10, 15 sales a day, and that is very motivating once you get to that point. But it can be a long, hard process getting to that point.
It takes a while,
especially when you're not motivated. But the nice thing about reselling is you will basically make more money if you put the work in, right? Like, you're not working for the money that you're making today. You're working for that money you're making weeks down the line. So,
as far as fourth quarter, it's hard because, we're listing more stuff, but it's mostly used, which I feel like isn't what people are necessarily looking for this time of year. But I've still been selling a lot, so I feel like we're not big Q4. So
we're not.
We're not into
we'll keep our eyes out for more new with tag stuff and
thrift, but
something that we think will sell faster because gift, if it's a gift or whatever. But
in the future, I might want to look more into doing shoes from the outlet stores and then just flipping them for smaller profits, but easier to list and multi-quantity and stuff like that.
We think it's probably more worth it to stick to our core, right? Like, than try to shift this big shift just for fourth quarter. So we do a little bit of keeping our eyes open for stuff, but we're not good at drastic change. So
I got a question. How much money do you guys say, like a percentage wise, do you guys reinvest back in your business to kind of grow and expand your reselling business? Because that's one thing that I think kind of gets overlooked by people when you're kind of doing it part-time and you have a full-time paycheck coming in every week. You kind of overlook it a little bit, but when you guys are full-time resellers and you're saying, hey, let's say we made, let's just say hypothetical numbers. Let's say you made $10,000 this month or $8,000, and now at the end of the month, after you paid your cost of goods, your eBay fees, your packing fees or whatever for all your envelopes and cost of goods, and then now at the end of the month, you're taking $2,000, $2,500 of that at the end of the month to carry over for the next month of November to go out and buy more inventory. So what is your guys' strategy as far as reinvesting money back in your business? And what advice do you have as far as that goes? Because, you got to spend money to make money, but I think sometimes people get into this holding pattern where it's like, okay, I'm reinvesting the same $1,000 month after month after month. And then their channel, their reselling business doesn't grow as a result of that,
Yeah. We kind of look at our cost of goods as coming back, and we definitely reinvest what we have returned back from our cost of goods.
So kind of like just reinvesting the $1,000 over and over. We don't take a ton of the profit at this point, mostly because I do all the sourcing and I just can't. I don't have enough time in the day to source more than I've got back in cost of goods from the previous month because I run out of time because I still have to list everything too. So we did a video last month about kind of our summer total sales or whatever, and we kind of broke down the numbers, and I think we got back we sell our kids items too, so it's tricky because it's not all
those are higher cost of goods.
Because those are just things we bought for our kid and may have paid $30 for it and got $30 back. So kind of skews our cost of goods. But anyways, I think we got $3,000 back in cost of goods 1 month. And then I showed how much I spent that month, which was only $1,500 on new inventory. So right now we're not spending more than we're getting back.
Right.
And then we still have some left over each month. And then if I do need to make a big purchase,
we've gotten to the point where there's only so many hours in the day, right? So I know when you're starting out, it's hard to get that money to invest in product and stuff. But once you're, I think what Chris calls it reseller nirvana, where you're basically selling as much as you're putting in, and it's
Chris,
like a Chris Daily refinement. Sorry,
not himself.
not me.
Right.
Me in the
Yeah,
third
he's talking
person.
about himself in the third person, guys. Go ahead.
But we've grown to the point now where that cost of goods, it's pretty much just it's just in the bank account. And if we want to spend extra some months on something like retail arbitrage, there's only so many hours in the day. So in our eyes, we're working up to the point of spending more on inventory to get more return, because that's kind of a way to make your time more valuable. But starting off, you could definitely start at like getting stuff super cheap at the bins or garage sales. And, when you can take a little bit more of that profit and put it towards your next month's cost of goods. And, that's kind of how we started and grown it to this point over the past few years. Well, she has. So,
Yeah. Well, I understand. Sometimes it feels like you're putting money and you're putting items into a black hole, because it's like sometimes you're listing items. And then it's like when you work a job and you work 40 hours on your paycheck, you're going to get 40 hours on your paycheck on Friday, like the following week. But like when you're working a reselling gig and you're like, okay, I'm cranking out, I did 10 items I listed today, but yet those 10 items don't show up on your paycheck right away. And you're spending money for cost of goods. You're spending time, energy, and effort because items got to be listed, but you don't get that immediate gratification. Like you said earlier, you may be listing an item in, let's say, August, September that may not sell till October, November, December later that year. But,
Yep.
It's kind of like, I almost look at it when I'm listing an item on eBay, I feel like I'm depositing a check in my eBay bank account. And then you're just waiting for that check to clear, because when people are used to get that instant gratification, like, okay, I worked 20 hours overtime at my job, therefore 20 hours overtime should show up on my paycheck. But when you're a reseller, you're just like, okay, I cranked out these listings. I did my quote unquote overtime. I listed items on a Saturday when I didn't want to, but I'm not getting, sales aren't coming in immediately. So I know that feeling. Hey, let me catch up with the people in the chat. Sometimes I get carried away, guys. I don't not trying to ignore you, but I want to say hey to Maggie Doodle Thrift Shop is here in the chat. Wanted to say hey to Hot Flip Heidi. Gilstrap is here. Gilstrap says, do you two ever sell vintage items or just newer stuff?
Yeah, when we find it.
I sell some like vintage baby dresses and stuff, and I remember like selling a vintage Disney tee for like $150, but that was undersold.
All right.
So yeah, not a ton.
Okay, cool. Let me say hello to Lindsay's Posh Loft is here. I wanted to give a shout out here to the Bargain Effect. The ATL Flipper is here. I don't know if you guys know the ATL Flipper, but he says, what's up, Jeff, Chris, and Kathy? I wanted to say hey real quick to Ella, Save Here First is in the chat. Wanted to say hey to Tuxedo Moon, says, what's the ABC, DEG boxes? We just talked about that earlier. Those boxes over the shoulder, that's where they can keep track of the inventory. So when the item sells, they're not running around like a chicken with their head cut off looking for that item that's sold. They know it's in BC, it's in bin B or bin D, so they know where to go find the items. Philly Flipper says, rumor has it that Ginger Marvin accepts any offers up to 80% off. So I think he's just pulling her leg. So
I might accept it 60% or 40% off. I might.
So what other tips and tricks do you guys use to help stimulate sales? Do you guys run a sale in your store? I'm sure you guys send offers to watchers. What other tips or tricks can you give our audience to help them make sales? Because that's probably the biggest complaint I hear from not just people just getting started or veterans alike. They're like, I'm just not making any sales. Yeah. I'm listing items. I'm putting the time in. I'm putting the effort, but I feel like my eBay store is dead, or I feel like I'm not generating sales. So what would be like maybe 2 or 3 tips that you can help them, because you guys do this as your full-time gig, to help them make more sales? Because there are things you can do. You could go to Markdown Manager. You could list more items. You can send offers to watchers. What's some of the strategies that you guys use to help make more sales? Because I think when you're in your routine, you make it look easy. You're like, hey, here's this whole table of packages of items that we sold today. And other people just kind of like have their head down like, well, I didn't sell any,
I think that routine is part of it. You have to be consistent. Like to make eBay sales every day, you have to list stuff every day. Another thing I've been watching Daily Refinement recently, and I don't agree with everything that he puts out, but something that's been like resonating with me is just like, he started this new store, little eBay store, and he's already got it to $1,000 a week profit in just a month and a half or something. And all he does is just list the same amount of items every day. They're not even high profit or anything like that. Just regular old
all mall brand stuff.
Nike t-shirt that anybody can find at the thrift store. So just listing the exact same amount of items every day. I mean, I don't know if it has to be the exact same, but
just having consistency.
Yeah.
Even when the income is not consistent, you need to keep your process consistent.
And then
because then eventually that equals consistent sales and stuff.
And then other than that, like running a sale, we do almost always have a sale running in the eBay store, but they're short sales, like 2 to 3 days. It ends for half a day, and then I put a new one back on. Almost always the exact same amount, like between 9 to 12%, nothing crazy. But I feel like just having a sale gets people to watch my items, and then I can send them an additional offer, however much room I have to negotiate or whatever. I don't accept best offer on my eBay store because I already priced my items kind of lower. And I think that's another reason I sell a lot is just market. Like all you have to do is be slightly under market value and your stuff's going to sell. So.
Well, I don't really believe in like undercutting. So let's say if you guys have an item listed for $19.99, I'm not going to put mine at $17.99. But what I will do is put mine at $19.99 or best offer. So if someone sends me an offer of, let's say, $18 and I paid 50 cents or $1 for the item and they're offering me $18, I'll take it. Because I don't really believe in this race to the bottom type of model. But like I said, I'll put or best offer my items. But if you're going to offer me like less than 10% of what I have it worth, like I'm not going to sit here and fool with continuing and you look down and it's a $5 offer for a $20 item and they want $5 with free shipping, knowing that the shipping itself is more than $5, you know? So yeah, if it's like, if I have an item listed for $20, if it's less than 18, I'll just put auto decline because I'm like, you're not a serious offer. I'm not going to sit here and waste my time, you know, responding back and forth for a $5 item or something. I wouldn't even take my time and energy to list the item for $5. I just would never have listed it, you know? So I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out. Before we let you go, you know, I got to put you on the spot real quick. You got to drop some knowledge and drop some advice. We have a lot of people in the chat. There's a lot of other people that watch my YouTube channel that are also resellers and have a YouTube channel. So if they're especially, you know how it is, going from 0 to 1,000 subscribers is typically a grind on YouTube. What advice do you have to help other resellers grow their YouTube channel? Because I get that question a lot from people. They're like, hey, I'm posting videos consistently on YouTube. You know, my channel isn't blowing up. I don't have 10,000 subscribers yet. So what advice would you have to help them out if they're in a similar situation that you guys were in once upon a time? Because I tell everybody the same thing. Everybody starts at 0, whether you're a reseller, whether you're a YouTuber, everybody starts at 0 subscribers, 0 items listed. So what advice would you have to help them grow their YouTube channel? Some of your videos are getting 8,000 and 10,000 views now, right?
That's all him.
What do you think?
All I do is say everything that's sold, and he does all the video editing, recording, and stuff. So
it's the same as reselling. Being consistent. You know, when we started YouTube, like I'm not good. I'm not like the hairy tornado, right? Like I'm not good at editing these beautiful looking videos that make sense, right? So, you know, we just decided like, hey, let's just be very consistent. Let's have good information and show our process because our process is successful and, you know, people will watch. And it's just being consistent and finding yourself, I guess.
I do think I had a head start because I had already grown my Instagram following before we started YouTube, and I was able to kind of pull some of those people over. So we were able to get to our at least initial 1,000 really fairly quickly.
Yeah, and another real good grower is collaborations, getting in with groups of channels that are, you know, your size in the same group, you know, just a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, and do collaboration videos with those. And just, you know, you got a lot of recognizable people in the chat, and, you know, I think everybody understands this is a community, and you know, treat it like that, and provide good information, and, you know, just try to be yourself like that. That's one thing.
Like,
Well, what was it that gave you guys? Because Kathy mentioned the other day And she said that she gets nervous, and I'm like, "Are you guys kidding me? Like, you're like, you have like almost 10,000 subscribers. Why would you be nervous on YouTube?" So, what kind of makes you kind of jump off the ledge and say, "Hey, we can do this. We're going to go ahead and start a YouTube channel"? Like, what kind of gave you the inspiration to go ahead and start a YouTube channel, and what kind of gives you the motivation to keep putting out consistent content? Because sometimes people think, "Oh, I've crossed the finish line. I've reached 1,000 subscribers or something," and I'm like, "No, you're just getting started. Like, you have to continuously put out content. You have to continuously work at it. It's almost like if you have a car, you can't just go and fill the gas tank up one time and then you're good. Like, you have to continuously, maintain it and take care of it." So go ahead and talk to us a little bit about what inspired you guys to start your YouTube channel. And if people aren't familiar with your channel, let them know what kind of content you guys make.
Well, he wanted to start it. I did not want to do it at all.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like COVID came, and then we were like stuck here, and we're like, I guess we can try it out. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had been talking about starting a YouTube channel
because he already had one for his woodworking.
Yeah,
he just likes YouTube.
Yeah, little known fact about us is when were we married?
You.
So back when YouTube was like almost new, like I had a video that got like 2 million views, just like about a cell phone. Which was crazy, but I didn't understand. YouTube was so new. The partner program was brand new, and I had figured out how to get paid for some of those views. But ever since then, it was when the first iPhone was out, because it was on the first iPhone, and like having that happen and then thinking about it for 10 years, every so often, like, man, remember when I made money on YouTube and all? And
he
then
made like $6,000 off one little video.
Yeah.
That just was the stupidest video. Like, I don't know how it was the stupidest video.
And then getting in, it was basically like serendipitous that reselling. I think the reselling YouTube niche is the best. Like, it really is. Like, everybody, like, nobody's really out here, hating on each other. We're all here working together, growing together. We're all like coworkers, really.
That's what I like about it, just sharing information. Yeah. Because a lot of what I sell and know is just from watching other people, and I want to keep passing on what I learned from them, but also what I just know just from trial and error.
Yeah, and the hardest thing, in my opinion, for YouTube is coming up with content, right? Like, what's your next video going to be? And like, we figured it out where, just doing our daily what solds. If you don't know about us, we do pretty much daily what solds, where we pick and Kathy talks about everything that we sell and how we kind of pack it up. That's kind of something that we've been doing new.
Like, we were watching a lot of Lonnie Shed Flips, and also
Cincinnati
Commonwealth
Picker
and stuff like that. Like, those were the ones that we were watching every day, and just,
it
was just something to watch in the evenings. And then that's kind of like how I decided, let's just do what solds, but in our own style.
And we had a little twist because we do a lot of kids' clothes, which, if anybody's in the reselling community, everybody knows that you don't sell kids' clothes because it doesn't make any money. But, we figured out a way to make money from it. And that's something, that little bit of intrigue that I think catches, at least in the beginning. Because when we just started YouTube, we were doing mostly kids' clothes. And then we've shifted and adjusted, and now we're selling adult shoes for the most part. So, just basically going where the wind takes us.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you guys. I know I don't get to see you guys and talk to you that often, but I do try to leave comments whenever I get a chance. You guys will see me in the comment section. I do try to help support other people in the community when you get a chance. It's really important. Let me give a shout out to some people here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Gilstrap Gets is here. I wanted to say hey to my buddy Cali Reseller Louise. If you guys didn't get a chance to go check his channel out, he's close to 1,000 subscribers. So go check out my man Cali Reseller Louise. I'm trying to help him get monetized. Says, we're new to the online community and everyone has been so kind and helpful. Yeah, 95% of the people or they don't mind giving you information and knowledge, because everybody learns somewhere. It's just that not everybody's willing to take the action and put the work in necessary to make the money. Mike just stopped by, says, hey, just got here. Are you guys mainly eBay sellers? How many items do you have listed? Thank you. Great couple. You guys sell on multiple platforms, right? We talked about that earlier. And I think they have around between 800 and 1,000 items listed. And they mainly sell shoes and clothing. The HL Flipper says, this is good. I'm learning a lot. Nashville Flipper stopped by, says, drop those drop those gems. Nathan G says, don't undercut. And I wanted to give a shout out to the Nashville Flippers. Says, we watched that daily refinement video too and committed to 10 listings daily. It's really helped our sales. So yeah, if you guys do something consistently, whether it's on YouTube or, you know, maybe you're trying to grow your following on Instagram or eBay, just doing something consistently and it grows over time. It's not like you go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 5 seconds. Like, it takes time to grow and, you know, being a part of the community. So we appreciate you guys coming on. Before we let you go, I have to ask you one more question. When you guys are outsourcing for you're looking for items to resell, what kind of profit margins do you look at? So, for example, those sandals that you had in your hand, how much would you guys typically pay for an item, and then what type of rate of return do you look for in these items? So let's say if I'm out in the wild, I'm at a yard sale, I'm at a thrift store, I'm at a garage sale, and I come across those items like you have in your hand, you know, a pair of shoes. How much do you typically try to pay for the item, and what would you say is like your ASP, like your average sell price? Like, what kind of profit margins do you guys typically look for?
It's hard to say because I don't really follow any sort of like thing. Because I'm doing mostly shoes, my goal is just get as many as I can at one place, bring them home and list them, and they will just sell.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly how much I paid for these, probably $5 to $7. They're just some FootJoy golf sandals. And I just know that pretty much any adult shoe, if it's leather and a decent brand, it's going to sell for a minimum of $30. And I'm okay even paying $10 to sell for 30 plus shipping and net profiting $10 to $15. But I can process through a ton of shoes at once, and versus driving around to every thrift store in town and
looking for vintage t-shirts or something like that,
or even just better shoes to sell for 50 plus. Like I can. Another thing from Daily Refinement, he lists 100, 200, I don't know, a million items a day. So just the more you can list consistently, or, you know, you're going to make more money if you list more items and sell more items than if you list $100 profit items, because the chances of finding $100 profit items over and over and over and selling.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's a misnomer that a lot of people have in reselling. They watch some of these YouTube videos and they see people pick up an item for $5 and sell it for $50, and they think every item they pick up is going to be like a home run. When, you know, I tell people the truth. In reality, like the statistics show, you guys are talking about Chris from Daily Refinement. He says that 90% of all the items that sell on the eBay platform are items that are $30 and below. So if you're in reality, if you see people and they're like, hey, I picked this item up for $5 and it sold for $100, or I picked it up for $5 and it sold for $50, that's not the norm. Like, that may be, you know, that might be like the highlight reel of you seeing LeBron James dunk from the free throw line and slam dunk the basketball. Every play, he's not doing a windmill dunk from the free throw line. Like, that's just like the highlight reel. And in reality, a lot of these bread and butter items that people sell every day are items that are $25, $30 items that maybe they paid $2, $3 at a yard sale, and maybe they paid $3 and sold it for $30, and then they still have a 10x rate of return on their investment, and they have some pretty good margins. So we had a quick question from the chat. Says, what do you use to clean shoes? So do you guys have a certain solution, or do you have anything in particular that you use to clean the shoes if you buy used shoes?
I try to buy them not too dirty. Sometimes, like, these are golf cleats, so I'm sure they have some mud in the bottoms, and they probably still have some mud in the bottoms because I'll just list them as is.
It's actually pretty clean.
But if it's like a canvas shoe or not leather, I will just put them in the washing machine, like a rubber. I sell a ton of Crocs, Skechers. Those can all like go in the washing machine for the most part. We use Goof Off sometimes, but I try to buy shoes that don't need much cleaning.
Yeah, that's the trick. Buy shoes you don't need to clean if you can, right?
That sounds like a good plan. If you buy items that are new or close to new, you don't have to clean them, you don't have to test them. You just photograph them, list them, and box them up and ship them out. That's always a great thing. So, hey, before we let you go ahead and let everybody know where they can follow you at on YouTube and Instagram. I have all your links down below in the description, but go ahead and let them know where they can find you and follow you guys.
Just at Ginger Marvin on both Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great. Do you have any words of wisdom, any inspiration, any type of motivation you can leave our audience with? Because, you know, I think that reselling, a lot of it is like, people have head knowledge. Let's say someone's trying to lose weight. They know if they eat healthy and they exercise, they know they'll lose weight. But it's like it's in your head, you know, like, hey, if I eat an apple instead of pizza and I run on the treadmill instead of sitting in the recliner, I'll lose weight. But it's like the switch can't switch on in their brain to make them do it. So what type of inspiration or motivation or what type of final thoughts do you have for our audience? And we'll let you guys go. And hopefully we'll have you back on again sometime, maybe after fourth quarter and when things get back to normal.
I think my biggest words of wisdom is just staying consistent. I think if you could really just do that, you will see success in sales and progress. And
start small. Like you don't want to jump in too deep, right? Like if you're just starting out and, you know, just like with any business, I think it's important to start small, start with things that you like, things that you know about, and then grow from there. Once you've got that figured out, shoes are easy, right? Like everybody wears shoes. So, you know, you already have some basic knowledge about shoes. So just start small, start with something you have already, and just grow from there as you're learning the processes of if you're that new, right? If you're learning out how eBay shipping works and stuff like that, figure out your process and then multiply so that you have more success, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. You're just going to list the item and then take your money and reinvest it back in your business and list more items and kind of repeat. It's like list, pack, ship, reinvest, and then repeat the whole thing. But yeah, guys, if you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, just be consistent and still keep working at it. I'd much rather you guys own the ladder instead of trying to climb the corporate ladder and work from home. There was a lot of jobs back in the day where I worked 10, 12-hour days in 100-degree heat, driving a forklift and doing manual labor jobs. And you guys don't know how well you have it when you can sit home in a recliner in the air conditioner with a nice, soft drink next to you and some snacks. And you're just taking photos and posting stuff on eBay. So if you haven't got started, go ahead and get started. If you guys are not following our guest, go ahead and follow our guest, Ginger Marvin. We're going to try to help get them to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we can do that. So go ahead and follow our guest. Till then, I will see you guys later. I have some more guests lined up later this week. Go follow our guests. All the links are down below in the description. Ginger Marvin. We appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come on and hang out with us. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the chat later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.